One fine morning, the sun was shining, the first day of my well-earned vacation, and this particular morning was something special. I was about to buy the new Panasonic 80 inches Plasma Ultra HD TV, LED LCD Finabandino 1080 pixel resolution contrast ratio maximum, ready for Blu-ray or butt porn, streaming set-top box, ESPN active and passive Pussy 2D and 3D Donkey S images, with a 5 speakers dynamic C1, 7-inch Titwoofer and a 1.1-inch ass cheek tweeter 38-2200 Hz sensitivity 90 dB impedance 8 ohm 200 watt per channel. Home theater. I'd saved for a whole long year for this particular day. As soon as I woke up, I was rushing down to the store, and when I entered, it was like stepping directly into paradise. There were all kinds of heavenly stuff, and it was hard to ignore all the beautiful things. But I had to focus. Now is now. The young man spotted me from the other end of the store and he almost ran towards me, having eye contact all the way, smiling, with his arms in a position ready for a big hug, saying, "Good morning, sir. How can I help you?" And he made me feel even better. We had a really pleasant short conversation, and he said really nice things about my hat, but I was too excited to remember all that. We found the TV set, and the young man started to talk about all the technical specifications, but I didn't hear anything. I was in another world. It was so beautiful. "Excuse me, sir. I woke up from my trance." The young man looked serious and said, "You know, sir, I need some extra extraction here and some serious nut slapping." "Don't worry," I said. "I have trained for this a whole year." "Very well, sir," the young man said, still smiling, that nice smile. "If you get ready, I'll call for help." And the nice man left. So, I prepared myself and took off my shoes, unbuttoned my pants, and took the standard position, down on all four, and stuck my ass in the air. The nice man came back, with 3 helpers, and the new Extractor 2000. "Very well, sir. You have tried this before, and you'll feel a little pinch. But I can see you have a real healthy and very handsome asshole, so this will not be a problem." And I felt really happy that he thought I had a handsome asshole. The young man stuck the extractor up my backside and I could hear the well-known sound of the wheels turning and expanding asshole. If you need a 80-inch widescreen up your butt, it'll take at least a 90-inch asshole. A little space at the sides is always a good thing. But that's not a problem. I have a 130-inch butt limit, a little above average. The young man and his helpers started stuffing, and when I first felt the nice touch of cold plastic up my rectum, I was almost in heaven. It was an otherworldly experience. That's what make life worth living. And, as a standard procedure, the nice young man's helpers took turn on slapping my nuts and butt cheeks, and a little on the tits too. And they were really nice and gentle with the nut slapping. After they had the home theater well packed up my ass, the young man asked me, still with my butt in the air, "Would you like a free toaster, sir, for being such a good customer, with a handsome asshole?" And would I? It was the happiest day of my life. And then I could feel the young man and his helpers start working on my ass, to expand it a little further, to make room for the free toaster. And as I was laying there, on my hands and knees, having 4 grown men working on my asshole, getting slapped on my nuts and ass cheeks, The best day of my life. In that moment, in a tiny split second, right there, in that heavenly store, with a free toaster, halfway out my asshole, I had a revelation, a short blackout, and I saw, in a vision, the happiest little boy in the whole wide world, smiling, with the happiest little eyes, and he said, "Hey my friend, you wanna hear a story?" I was, obviously a little surprised, and, before I had the chance to answer, he was gone again. This is the exact story, for all mankind to hear, told word by word, by that little happy boy, in the tiny split second, with a free toaster halfway out my ass getting a good nut slap. So, if there be any dirty words, blame the kid. Kids just love dirty words. But, anyhow, here we go. Chapter 1. On the exact day, 10 years before the biggest date off in the whole history of all mankind, little Emmanuel Gonzo McElroy was born. This was a very special day because this time it was his mother, Vagis, deliverance of limb number 100. Little Emmanuel was born in a nice little community called the Big Dades, and everybody knew everybody, so all the folks showed up to have a nice look in Vaggie. It was very exciting because they really loved limps, and they all loved Vaggie too. But what came out of Vaggie that fine day was something they'd never expected. It was what the old folks called a normie. A perfect healthy four-limbed little human being. And everybody was happy in Big Dates that day. Kids always came out funny. I mean literally with arms and legs sticking out all over the place. And they really loved funny kids. And Emmanuel was not funny at all. And that was super funny. And they all cheered and laughed and threw stuff in the air and drank lots of date juice from big jocks. And even the dog was happy. And they gave him a nice little after-birth snack. Such nice folks. But they also were very practical people. And plain common sense was a natural instinct to them. Because, as they said in the Big Dates, it's all a part of God's plan. And God is good. And He is looking out for you, and if you are not careful He will come and be nice to you and teach you a good lesson. Just like a big strong loving father, who will throw his little son out from a big old tree to see how tall it is. They really loved God being nice and all. And God was very busy loving them back. Well, pretty soon after his birth it was clear that little Emmanuel suffered from the bad date disease. It's a very rare disease, only to be seen in the Big Dades. So they named it Big Bad Date Disease. One of the symptoms is a harsh odor radiating from the private parts. The smell is described as a mix of dead donkey and butt juice. The more poetic ones described it as gorgonzola in a cat tray. And they all had their sniffers down little Emmanuel's stinky nuts, and they had a great big debate going. Some folks at the Big Dates definitely liked butt juice, but they voted for the last one because they really loved poetry back then. So they nicknamed him Gonzo. They just had so much fun back then. But Gonzo didn't care much if he was named after Stinky Balls or the King of England. He was just a happy kid with all the other happy kids. And all the grown-ups, they were mega happy too. For normal people, it sounds a little strange. But these folks really were mega happy all the time. So in order to understand all that good spirit, we'll have to go back in time